So this week we're reading Parashat VAYEILECH. And I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head? Even if you don't want it. It's stuck in your head, it's pesky, it's in there, and maybe it's not the song you want to be stuck in your head. I'm not going to name any titles right now because the moment I do, it will be stuck in your head. Now, this weekly reading addresses the problem we have in a peculiar way. We learned in this week's Parsha that Moses was 120 years old, and just before he goes away to die, he preserved every single word of his teaching. He actually, it says, he wrote them down. And he handed over his teaching, what he has written down, to the sons of Levi. And the sons of Levi were commanded to recite those words to the people to teach them. And the original plan was every Shemitah year, every seventh year, which is not often enough, as you can imagine, because we read them every single week, right? And even we do not have enough. But the idea is that the Torah was meant to be read publicly so that people would never be ignorant of its words. And the intent is so they would learn it and they would know it. The children who grew up without hearing it, at least every once in a while they will hear it. And they will know the will of God. That's the idea. God's words were designed to guide us. And we need to hear them before we can be guided by them. We need to know them before we can actually know what we're supposed to do. But that is not all that this Parsha is about. The words that Moshe wrote down were called in Hebrew Shirah. In Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 19, we read this very word, and Shirah means a song. Now, have you ever thought of a Torah as a song before? Because this entire book of Deuteronomy is called the Song of Moses sometimes. And that is why my drash today is entitled, Let the Song Ring. Now, this may not seem important to you today, because the society that we live in, the world that we all come from, is a very literate world. But the ancient world, most people did not have books. They did not know how to write. Neither did they have notebooks or writing implements. And so that means when they heard something they needed to know, they needed to remember it. And so singing Torah as a song became a perfect means to enshrine those words. Remember, I asked you, do you know how a song can get stuck in your head and it will not let go? Well, guess what? Torah is meant to be that song. This is why the Shema tells us what? To repeat these words to our children. As you rise up, as you lie down, as you walk along the road, as you do all these different, as you live life, you are to repeat those words. Veshinantam levanecha, it says. So, why are we supposed to do that? So that they imprint our minds and we would not let them go. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov used to teach that Hashem calls out to every Jew, each and every Jew, in his own unique way. Now, the words may be exactly the same, and what one hears on the outside could be identical, but every person takes them differently. To one person, when Hashem calls out to them, it sounds like the words of the shofar, just a loud blast, a shout. To another person, the same exact word sounds like a sweet melody and a song, and they hum it in their head after they hear those words from Hashem. And to another person, those words may be but a whisper, because that is what they need. Now, the relationship between God and his people, a lot of times, is described as a relationship of the shepherd and his sheep. The famous psalm, I may remind you, Adonai ro'i lo echsar, the Lord is my shepherd, right? I will have no lack of any sorts. The shepherd, you know what he does? A lot of times he sings, he hums, or he plays music maybe a flute, maybe a harp. David did harp. Other people do other instruments. You will see shepherds even today in the remote countrysides will play an instrument or just hum or sing a tune. Ever wondered why they do that? They do that so that the sheep know where the shepherd is, so they do not go astray. As long as the sheep can hear the song of the shepherd, they know they're not too far off. Even if they went behind a tree or a rock or something like that, they know the shepherd is right there, right around the corner. And then a lot of times the sheep, they also carry little bells. And as they walk around, they kind of dangle and they make noise. And so the shepherd also is aware, even as he sings, that the sheep are somewhere around the corner because he hears them making those noises with the bells. The bells, says Rav Nachman, remind us of the connection to Hashem. The bells are like the words of the Torah. And so let those bells ring, I say. Make sure that you hear the song of the shepherd and you make a little noise so he knows that you are nearby as well. You know, the Torah that Moses recited before the children of Israel and recorded can truly be a song. It is meant to be internalized and sung, which is why a lot of times when we read from a scroll, if a person had the training and had the time and the ability to sing it out, we sing it. That is the best way to do it. That is the preferable way to do it. Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 19 says, Hashira chazod le'ed bivnei Israel. This song shall be a witness, ed, or a sign to the sons of Israel. The song is to be a witness or a sign for the sons of Israel. Well, does that mean Israel needs a witness? What kind of a witness? Witnesses are typically needed to establish the truth, right? To verify that something is true. Usually in the context of some judgment or decision that it needs to be rendered. They lent personal support to the facts. That's what witnesses do. And Torah, the song, is supposed to be our witness. So in this Parsha, Moses, he will die soon. And Hashem knows that when the Israelites will come into the land given to them, the land of promise, they will eventually put some distance between themselves and their shepherd. That's what's going to happen. And they may get far away from Hashem, and some of them may even put distance between themselves and Hashem on purpose. Moses knows this, Hashem knows this. In fact, Hashem warns Moshe about this. But the Almighty charges that the song of the Torah should be taught to the sons of Israel. That's what he tells them. Teach them this song. Verse 19 says that it's supposed to be v'feihem, in their mouths, literally. The song is supposed to be in their mouths. God explains that when Israel sins against him and gets into deep trouble, in verse 21, he says, then this song will confront them as a witness, as an ed, since it will never be lost from the mouth of their offspring. Do you see what I mean when I say when a song gets stuck in your head? There's a reason why your brain is wired that way. Because the song that is supposed to be in it is Torah. The songs have this truly amazing quality, I have to say. They stick. We don't want them to stick sometimes, but they do. And we remember their words remarkably. I can stand right here and start with certain songs that I assume you would know. And all I would have to do is give you but a first line, and you can complete the rest. I know you could. I'm not going to do that because, again, they will get stuck in your head. I mean, I could do this. See, you could do this. This working. It's working, right? I could take a passage from the Torah and start reciting it, and you will continue. Why? Because it is in your head and it's in your mouth now. And once it comes out, it's powerful because you are singing Torah. Now, imagine remembering lyrics, lines and lines and lines and lines and pages. You probably have hundreds of pages of lyrics stuck in your head somewhere there tucked away. And not all of those songs are probably good, right? Okay, that's okay. But that's what it takes. That's how Hashem made us. He made us to be able to do that. Now the question, of course, that I'm going to close my drash with is, how well do you know the most important song of all, the Torah? Why is that important? Because when you hear the voice of God, you will recognize it. But you will recognize it only if you have heard his voice before. And if you study his words, if you recite them, if you repeat them diligently to your children every day as you go through your life, you will recognize those words. They will sound familiar to you. You will pick them right up and carry that tune along. You will let that song ring from your mouth. Yeshua taught us when he said, "My sheep hear my voice." And when they do, they know their shepherd and they follow him. Remember that teaching? How can we hear the voice of our shepherd? It's true. The sheep do recognize the voice of their shepherd because they recognize the song that he sings, the music that he plays for them. They know it. It's familiar to them. And the song of another shepherd is not the same. So, this song, the Torah, it can bring us back to Hashem. Some words that have not been heard in a long time can bring us back. And, of course, we don't have to be far away. We don't have to go astray. It can also keep us close to Hashem. Let this song of the Torah ring. Let that song get stuck in your head. Because I know it will keep you close to the shepherd at all times. Shabbat Shalom.